Croeso, this is James, aka JP Harker, coming to you with another video. It's going to be some books that I have read. I put one of them down there. We have, these are two library books that I'm doing together because I have to take them back. The Hanging Tree by Paul Doherty. Realm of Darkness, same author. And I don't tend to read things like this, but it was lent to me and I was pleasantly surprised. The Poems of Wilfred Owen, who is, I'm going to claim he's Welsh, even though he's only half Welsh, because I'm only half Welsh, but, yeah. Born and raised and speak the lingo, I'm going to call that Welsh. I'm going to do the two novels first. They're both medieval mystery style novels, and pleasantly not rip-offs of Cadfael, which I was worried one of them would be. Now I'll do my second favourite of them first, which is Realm of Darkness. Now they're set in different historical periods. This one is set during the reign of Edward II. And I can't remember, I think I mentioned when I did the TBR that for some reason Mr. Doherty, despite most of it being very well researched, describes Edward II's favourite as Peter Gaveston, when it's fairly common knowledge his name was Piers Gaveston. Little niggling thing, but I really don't know why he did that, because it's a fairly elementary mistake to make in an otherwise well-researched book. But I don't really come into it much, it's just the historical context. And Edward is married to Isabella. Isabella is the daughter of the King of France, and Philip of France, he's a greedy man and he wants control over the English throne via a grandson. That's going to come back and bite you, son, because that grandson's going to be Edward III and he's not going to do much good for France. But that's a spoiler alert for history. But Philip of France, he's full of hatred for the Templars, he's full of hatred for the English spy network, and he's keen to get his MacGuffin, I mean his various diamonds and whatnot, from this English monastery, Benedictine monastery, I think. Yes, a Benedictine Abbey of St. Michael's. Now, our hero in this is Hugh Corbett. I looked on Goodreads, and this is something like the 16th book in Corbett's series, but people said you don't need to know the series. It's like a lot of mystery-type series. You can drop in wherever, and this was the one that was available. And I found the character to be only okay. The mystery itself was pretty good. I didn't see the resolution coming. It's this theft slash murder slash fire to cover your tracks slash international conspiracy book. And there was plenty that kept me guessing. There was plenty of good historical detail. And overall, it's alright. But I didn't much like the investigator. He wasn't a bad character, he just wasn't a particularly interesting character either. He was just, he's another detective. He just happens to be in a medieval spy master type role. So I would, if you like a medieval mystery, then have a look at Realm of Darkness. There's nothing wrong with it, but I found it to be only okay. Now, Paul Doherty's other book, The Hanging Tree, I thought was better. Now, the investigator in this, he's not a fascinating character, he's no Cadfael, but Brother Athelstan was a little bit more likeable and relatable. And was it Sir John Cranson, who is, I keep wanting to call him Hugh Beringer equivalent. He's the actual lawman, and Athelstan is the amateur sleuth who solves lots of the crimes. Now this one was a little bit better. It was interesting. It was like the other one. I didn't see it coming, the whodunit part, an infuriating, in a fun way, moment is, and I didn't get this in the other book, was it's one of those books where it's foreshadowed very early on what's actually happening, but in such a way that is so subtle, and it's so early in the development that it just completely goes. And I got to, what was maybe the 3/4 mark where this stuff is starting to be revealed, and I genuinely had to go, hang on, no. I got there, I was like, damn, he's right. And that made this book a lot more endearing to me, that it made me do that. Yeah, and there's a wonderful complexity in one of the characters, a hangman, who is also this very gifted artist. I rather liked that. And I liked the resolution, and the characters, again, they were not hugely charismatic and memorable, but because the story itself was a lot better, I do rate this one a bit higher. So if you want to get into Paul Doherty's work, I would say The Hanging Tree is a better place to start. This one, a little flaw in Realm of Darkness was, we had a couple of those dreaded two people converse when they both already know what it is, and they're just there to give the reader exposition. I really hate that in a book, where it's just, so, as you know, this is the case. Yes, as I was there too. You'll remember that we were both there at this. Yes, we were. And the Lord said this, this, and this. Yes, he did. And the knight said that. And you're like, you both know this. This is an unnatural conversation. You didn't need it. And there were a couple of those in Realm of Darkness. I didn't spot them in The Hanging Tree. So, again, I'll rate this one higher. As for the third book, I am not generally one who reads poetry. I've read a few Shakespearean sonnets, and of course we studied First World War poetry in school, because I think most people did, and I think I may have come across Wilfred Owen, but the only one that tends to be studied is Dulce de Cordon Est, and back in the early days of the Iraq War, I had a Dulce de Cordon Est Pro Patria Mori t-shirt, because of my little student resist attitude to that war. But oddly enough, of all these poems, that one wasn't a favourite of mine. I thought it was all right. Most of them, they varied from to the mermaid one. Sorry, is it the Little Mermaid? I think so. That was not fun. That was something like 600 lines long, and I just thought, yeah, there's some good stuff in here, but we get it. You could have stopped this. But luckily, most of them are quite short and punchy. Some of them very, oh, I like that. A lot of them, according to the footnotes, quite derivative of Keats, who again I remember studying in school and thinking, it's all right. But there was one that I absolutely loved. And yes, I am going to recite some poetry for you now, because I thought this one overshadowed pretty much all of the others. And it's called The Ballad of Many Thorns. It's, a poet stood in parley, with carles a reaping corn. Quoth one, I curse the barley, more sharp than any thorn. Although thy hand be torn, ill-spoken was thy curse. I swear thou art forsworn, if thistle wound not worse. So groaned a footsore climber that scaled the bristly path. What thorns, Sir Carl, Sir Rhymer, like these the thistle hath? Behold a wan youth ramble, with bleeding cheeks forlorn, and moans, the wanton bramble, it is the keenest thorn. Rode by a wounded warrior, deep muttering like a lion, show me the flesh wound sorrier than by the barb of iron. Out laughed a man of folly, much wine had made him thick. This jolly festive holly deals oft a nasty prick. There hung near by a Jesus, with crowned head for scorn. Ah, by his brow who sees us, was any like his thorn? So sighed a leprous palmer, but when he thought afresh, perchance his pain was calmer than this thorn in my flesh. Then cried the gentle poet, not one among ye knows the cruelest thorn, I know it, for I have kissed the rose. Beautiful, absolutely brilliant. I say I'm not generally one for poetry, but that one really got me. I like it. So again, like most good writing, I think, why didn't I think of that? And there you go. I suppose that's why people write a lot about Wilfred Owen and they don't yet write a lot about me. I'm going to hold these up here. Realm of Darkness, it was alright. The Hanging Tree, it was better. Poems of Wilfred Owen, mixed reviews, but that one poem really did make a difference for me. I'm going to leave those there. Shall wrap up this video now then. This is James, aka JP Harker. Will Vow.